Monica, to Karen, to all of those who spent so much time organizing this tremendous program. A panel addressing a horrific crime that is underway as we speak, a public genocide. And Canada, ever the loyal junior partner to the U.S. in war crimes and crimes against humanity, and a whole cabal of U.S. allies are once again in lockstep on this latest crime. Cutting the funds to UNRWA is really cutting the funds to all the people of Palestine, to the people of Gaza, to the millions in the West Bank and the refugee camps in Jordan, where 75% of the population of Jordan are Palestinian refugees, to Lebanon, Syria. This is really an extension of a crime that we have all seen taking place in front of our eyes. And it's based on an Israeli allegation, a completely unsubstantiated charges. The White House, Canada, Britain, the EU, all the countries that are imposing this rushed ban have been silent over the 150 deaths of UNRWA workers killed by this Israeli genocide. There's no other way to describe it. They've been silent. The charges that UNRWA worked with, communicated with Hamas, I really want to assert that this is not illegal. It is exactly what UNRWA would have to do and should do. Hamas is the elected government of Gaza. Let's not forget that. There were UN monitored elections. And ever since those elections, where Hamas overwhelmingly won, there have been sanctions on Gaza. Completely illegal sanctions, extending now 17 years. But as the elected government, it's Hamas that administers the schools, the hospitals, the water, the sewage, the infrastructure. Who else would you connect with? So this has suddenly been raised into a crime, what should be standard operating procedure. Now, South Africa's charges of genocide taken to the ICJ that the whole world embraced, supported. The White House declared it meaningless. Can you imagine? Meaningless was their term. These pages, more than 80 pages of charges, each backed up. They not only took no action, but said it was irrelevant. And then an Israeli charge, unsubstantiated, really not even presented, is cause for cutting funding. Maybe the best example of how utterly meaningless in terms of the world today for the big imperialist powers human life is, and that only profits matter, is in the U.S. bombing of Yemen. And the Ansarallah Allah tactic, which was to shut shipping until Israel stopped the bombing of Gaza. Now, this caused not one casualty, not one death. And yet, the bombing of Yemen shows again, it confirms that profit is what matters, and the only thing that matters, not human life. And if there's a tactic that causes no deaths, no loss of human life, it nevertheless is a crime if it impacts profit. Every effort in the world that can be taken to defend, to support, to show solidarity to Gaza, to the West Bank, to all the Palestinian people must be taken. For too long, U.S. sanctions on 40 countries, a third of the world population, made the starving down, made depriving of medicine and potable water an acceptable tactic. And now what is happening? There's a new, even worse form, and a new, worse acceptable tactic, publicized widely, taken to a more dangerous level. I do think that this is very much the time to demand the whole world provide for the Palestinian people. If the U.S. withdraws, if all of their cabal of allies withdraws, there are the resources to provide. And making this a global campaign, contributing to it, that's a really important step. At the same time, we have to raise even higher our voices of complete solidarity with Palestine and also solidarity with every force in the region that is struggling to defend Palestine and who are being categorized as terrorists and every other label and every justification for new bombing campaigns. We should be aware of that. Will there be war on Iran or new bombing of Iraq, Syria, Lebanon? Really, their crimes are extending and expanding, and our solidarity on a world scale is decisive. Thank you. And thanks to this program.